Three, two, one.
It's time to start.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Stanley's Stinkers, a unique look at college football where we pick the losers. That's right, the losers. Each week we'll look at 20 of the biggest games, we'll break down the teams, we'll analyze the coaches, and we might even flirt with the cheerleaders. But in the end, we'll predict the losers, or in this case, the stinkers in each of the contests. Stay tuned because this week's games are coming up. It was a wild Saturday in college football last week with several big games coming down to the last few plays. Even with that, Stanley Stinkers posted a 17-3 mark, bringing our overall record to 78%. That's not bad when you consider the fact that we don't back away from the big contest. We use reverse prognostication to predict the losers in college football's biggest games. With that said, here are the teams that show up this week on the Stinkometer. Notre Dame at Boston College. The luck of the Irish has been steady in the favor of the Leprechauns more than once this season. Last week, no exception. Against a team with 4 losses, Notre Dame had to use 3 overtimes to secure the win. This week's opponent, Boston College, has 7 losses. But the Beagles also have a decent passing game with a receiver who already has more than 1,000 yards receiving this year. For the Leprechauns to stay undefeated, they'll have to cut BC off at the pass. Stanley Stinker, Boston College. Missouri at Tennessee. The Riflemen from Knoxville are set to try and protect their head coach, understanding that a loss to the Tiger Cats from Mizzou would probably mean the end of the Dooley era at UT. Both teams have 4 wins and need this game for a possible bowl bid. Last week, Tennessee quarterback Tyler Bray threw for more than 500 yards in a win against Troy. Another top passing performance would be enough to notch the victory and possibly job security for his coach. Stanley Stinker, Missouri. Kansas State at TCU. The highly touted Wildcat quarterback Colin Klein was banged up last week, and Kansas State will need his arm and legs against a froggy defense that's proven to be very stout. TCU is allowing less than 100 yards per game rushing, and if K-State doesn't have Klein, a redshirt freshman quarterback will have to win through the air. That may be harder than expected. Without Klein, the Wildcats probably win. It just won't be pretty, and it may not continue. Stanley Stinker, TCU. Vanderbilt at Ole Miss. This game features 2 teams who are trying to become bowl eligible and may be running out of time. For Vandy, a bombing of Kentucky last week put them in position to get into the postseason while Ole Miss was losing to Georgia. The Insurgents won't get many more chances at their 6th win with games against LSU and MSU on the horizon. Look for Ole Miss coach Hugh Freeze to pull out all the tricks in this one. Stanley Stinker, Vanderbilt. Louisiana Lafayette at Florida. The Ragin' Cajuns head to Gainesville to try a new recipe. The menu could feature swamp lizards, that is if they can be caught. Last week, Florida was surprised by Missouri but still managed to get by with a win. You better believe the coaches from Lafayette will be studying that game film and looking for a way to barbecue an SEC powerhouse. It might be close again for Florida, but probably not. Stanley Stinker, Louisiana Lafayette. Oregon State at Stanford. Well, last week the Beavers proved they could win by running the ball. This week they'll need that skill and more when they play the #1 rushing defense in the nation. The Cardinal already has a win against USC to their credit this year, and a victory against another top-tier foe would be a feather in their wing. Beaver coach Mike Riley will have to be resourceful in this one if he hopes to win on the road. But Stanley Stinker, Oregon State. Well, we've got 14 more games coming up, including a game between the Pigs and Chicks. Also, the Deep South's oldest rivalry, and of course, Johnny Football against the Crimson Tide. All that and more coming up next. Stanley Stinkers is brought to you every week by CBSSports.com Fan Shop. Now that Christmas is on the way, the sports fan on your list would love to have a jersey or a hat from their favorite team. You'll find that and more at CBSSports.com Fan Shop. Click on the link on our sponsors page for CBSSports.com Fan Shop. By Passion by Eve. The cool weather and short days mean more time for romance. Guys, don't let the opportunity to make the sparks get away. From lotions to potions and things that go buzz in the night, there's something for every relationship. And ladies, If you book your Passion Party now, you'll qualify for even more rewards and gifts. Passion by Eve. Check them out at passionbyeve.com. By 5 Front PR. Mike and the guys from 5 Front PR know how to help any business just like they did for Stanley Stinkers. When it's time to take your business from the forefront to the 5 Front, call 5 Front PR. And by Russell Athletic. Now that hunting season is here, it's time to go camo. Not commando, camo. Check out the latest lines of camo from the outdoors to the indoors and everywhere underneath. That's Russell Athletic. And fans, don't forget to like Stanley Stinker's Facebook page for a glimpse inside the Stinkometer every Saturday. We'll have insights and highlights all day long on Stanley Stinker's Facebook page. Tell your friends to meet you there. Arkansas at South Carolina. After a shaky start, the Piggies from Arkansas have bounced back with 4 consecutive victories. Take away all the turmoil early on, and Arkansas might still be in the picture for a BCS bid. But as it stands now, a minor postseason bowl would be about all they get. The next step in that process is a game in Columbia against a rested group of forlorn fowl. Don't look for Steve Spurrier to throw Arkansas a bone in this game. It's back to the smokehouse for the Piggies. Stanley Stinker, Arkansas. Georgia at Auburn. This game is often referred to as the Deep South's oldest rivalry, and it will mark the 116th time that the Striped Cats and Silver Slack Canines have faced off on the football field. Auburn leads the series with 54 wins, 53 losses, and 8 ties. This should be the year that Georgia evens up the series, but Auburn did gain a lot of confidence last week in their second victory of the year. When you're dealing with young men, talent's good, but confidence is the game changer. Look for the game to be close, but in the end, Stanley Stinker, Auburn. Mississippi State at LSU. LSU needs to bounce back from one of their most disappointing losses of all time last week, and a win at home against the Bullpups could be what the witch doctor ordered. But just how much that loss affected LSU is still to be decided. Meanwhile, MSU comes in riding a 2-game losing streak, and Dan Mullen really needs a win to get the believers back on his side. This game will soothe somebody's hurt, and somebody else will get hurt more. You heard it here first, in a shocker. Stanley Stinker, LSU. Texas A&M at Alabama. Fans of the Crimson Pachyderm are probably still replaying the last-minute heroics last week against LSU, but if the championship season is to continue, the team will need to move past that game and prepare for the man they call Johnny Football. The highly touted Aggie quarterback has been a force in all but one game he played in this year. That one bad game against LSU. If Alabama hopes to contain the visitors, they'll have to play that good or better. This will be the first time A&M has played in Tuscaloosa as a member of the Southeastern Conference. Welcome to the league, Aggies. Stanley Stinker, Texas A&M. Well, while we're at it, here are a few more games that show up this week on the Stinkometer. North Carolina will be buzzed by Georgia Tech. Syracuse will be pecked by Louisville. Iowa State will be gored by Texas. Maryland will be shelled by Clemson. Virginia will be stormed by Miami. Arizona State will lose to USC. Southern Mississippi will be bucked by Southern Methodist. Kansas will be shot down by Texas Tech. Cal will be quacked by Oregon. And Penn State will get shucked by Nebraska. Stanley Stinkers is intended for entertainment only. A free podcast and blog is available online at www.stanleystinkers.com. You can also like us on Facebook for a chance to see inside the Stinkometer every Saturday. Insights and highlights all day long on Stanley Stinkers' Facebook page. Stanley Stinkers is a production of Gramagdala Sports. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of Stanley Stinkers without the expressed written permission of me, Stanley Stinkowich, is appreciated. Join us again next week as we use reverse prognostication to predict the losers in college football's biggest game.